New poll numbers out on President Trump's approval rating. Nearly 2/3 of Americans disapprove of the job President Trump is doing in the White House, according to an Associated Press NORC poll released Thursday. 64% of respondents in the survey said that they don't like how the president is handling his office. 64%. While just over a third, 35%, approve of Trump. Let me just stop there. So 35%, that's... I've seen other polls that have his approval rating at 35%. I don't think I've ever seen a poll that has his disapproval over 60. I've seen it at 60, but 64% disapprove. This guy is, at this point, historically hated. Historically. In fact, we literally did the breakdown recently. We compared him to, I think, every post-World War II president, and he was the worst. He was the worst. At this point in his presidency, worst. Some of them didn't ever hit, in their entire time in office, didn't ever hit the failure of numbers that this president has hit. That was a weird way of phrasing it, the failure of numbers. I could have just said disapproval, or favorability, or unfavorability. But anyway, you get the point. So they continue. The poll also found that 65% of Americans believe Trump has little or no respect for the country's democratic institutions and traditions. Damn. Only about 34% said they believe he has a great deal or even a fair amount of respect for such institutions. Trump also faces disapproval in some key policy areas. 66% of Americans said they disapprove of Trump's handling of health care. That comes 2 months after House Republicans passed a measure to repeal and replace parts of the Affordable Care Act. The Senate is hammering out its own health care bill. Nearly as many Americans, 64%, disapprove of Trump's climate change policies. The president announced earlier this month that he would withdraw the U.S. from the 195-nation Paris climate deal and has made a concerted push to undo Obama-era environmental regulations. So that's the thing, is it's not just that, hey, his overall numbers are shitty. But when you get into the specifics of, hey, what do you think of this policy he's doing? What do you think of that policy he's doing? Across the board, people are like, hate it, worst thing ever, terrible, sad, mess, disaster, believe me. People hate it, man. 66% say they don't agree with his handling of healthcare. And actually, the other poll that we've discussed endlessly, which I thought was even funnier, 17% of Americans support Trump care. Just 17%. And he did that thing in the Rose Garden where he's got all the other Republicans. By the way, very diverse picture. It was all white dudes and Trump's in the middle. Orange man and white dudes all around him. And he's like, this is amazing. This is tremendous. The healthcare, we're getting rid of the failing Obamacare. Failing Obamacare. Failing. It's failing. And they're laughing, and some, photographers got amazing pictures of them, like, just looking like robber barons, like, oh, yes, please, pass me my monocle. So, hate it, man, hate it. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Well, actually, that's not true. At the end of Bush's time in office, he had like a 28% approval rating. But this is Trump not only having a 65% or 64% disapproval rating, this is you go policy for policy, which are his top priorities. 66%, hey, fuck your shitty healthcare bill. 64%, why are you pulling out of the Paris Climate Agreement? So this is something he's going to have to contend with, man. See, the thing is, during the campaign, he was hitting on many populist themes that are actually really liked policies across the board. So he would say, I'm not going to cut Social Security. I'm not going to cut Medicare. I'm not going to cut Medicaid. Other Republicans want to cut it. I'm not going to cut it. And those are ideas that are very popular. Democrats and Republicans go, yeah, don't cut those programs. We love those programs. We love them. Don't cut them. TPP, bad, sad. We're not going to outsource your jobs anymore. Tremendous. People love that. He would talk about infrastructure. Oh, yeah, infrastructure. We're going to rebuild our infrastructure. He would say, we're going to stop the wars. We're going to stop the wars and take the money and rebuild infrastructure. Those are all ideas. Popular. But here's the thing. Now that he's in office, Who's he surrounded by? He's only surrounded by the establishment. He's surrounded by Goldman Sachs advisors, and he's surrounded by neocons in the deep state, and he watches corporate media all day who cheerlead for him when he starts bombing Syria. So all the positive reinforcement he gets is around the most odious policies that the American people despise. So his approval ratings keep slipping. And by the way, what does he do? He tweets like the one poll, is a right-wing polling organization, might have been Rasmussen, that gave him like a 50% approval rating. He was tweeting that saying thank you to everybody. The one poll! Every other poll is like, boo, you suck, boo, go blow a goat, boo. He's like, tremendous. I got one that has 50% approval. Tremendous, believe me. Let me just tell you. So it's really pathetic, man. It's really pathetic. And since he's no longer, or it's much more rare now that he's out in front of the rally crowd, so he doesn't hit on the themes that they would like. And of course, with the Republican base, it's the populist stuff, but then also mixed with the xenophobia and the bigotry. Now that he's in office, he's just doing 100% establishment garbage. Everything he's doing a Mitt Romney or Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio presidency on steroids and human growth hormone. The establishment adores this guy at this point. And again, it's reflected in the approval numbers here because Goldman Sachs is cheering him, corporate media is cheering him, neocons in the deep state are cheering him, and nobody else in the country is fucking cheering him. When only 17% of people like your shitty healthcare bill, and 64% of the American people say, why did you fucking pull out of the climate change agreement? What are you, crazy? Why are you doing that? And again, 64% disapprove. You're in trouble, dude. But he's lost too, by the way. He's lost. This is what happens when you have no core. You have no core, you have no principles, you have no things you actually believe in and will fight for. So another thing he's doing is just outsourcing everything in his administration to whoever he's comfortable with outsourcing it to. So in other words, for defense, he's like, Mattis, go ahead, you make all the decisions. Like, wait, what? There were reports that the very first military action he did as president, he just allowed the military to do a drone strike that, by the way, Obama had said, don't do that one because it's too risky. And this is Obama, who got 90% the wrong people with drones. But even he was like, oh yeah, that one's too risky and you don't have good intelligence on that. Trump was like, yeah, I don't know, tremendous. You do whatever you want to do. Said that to the military. And then they did the attack and an 8-year-old girl died and at least 30 civilians died. So he's just like, I don't know. Whatever. Economy? Goldman Sachs. You guys make all the decisions for the economy. Military? Where's Mattis? Mattis, you make all the decisions for the military. Pentagon, you make all the decisions. So he's like abdicating his responsibility. Now, some people would say, well, that's a good thing. But who's he abdicating it to? The establishment. It wouldn't be good if Trump made those decisions all by himself because he's an idiot. But it's also not good when he just says, okay, now the establishment makes all the decisions because he ran an anti-establishment campaign. So he's gone back on everything. It really is amazing. It's amazing. You go back, you look during the campaign trail. Afghanistan, why are we still in Afghanistan? Nation building, got a nation build here at home. And now they're talking about adding more troops to Afghanistan. He just goes back on everything. On fucking everything. Goldman Sachs, Hillary, Bob, crooked Hillary, Goldman Sachs, Ted Cruz, Wall Street, Goldman Sachs, they own them. They're puppets to the donors. Anyway, now I'm appointing Goldman Sachs in my administration. He didn't just appoint Goldman Sachs in his administration. He appointed the president. The president of Goldman Sachs. He's like, you come in here and make decisions. The Democrats have been given a gift with this president, man. They've been given a gift in the sense that it's not a gift for the country, let's be clear. It's a gift in that he's the most beatable person ever. But you couldn't even beat him. Hillary Clinton couldn't beat him. And now the corporate Democrats are trying to lose again. I mean, they're trying as hard as they can. Run to Russia. Oh my God, Russia. Let's only talk about Russia, even though there's like, I don't know, everything else you could talk about. And when you talk about all the other shitty things that he's doing, it doesn't require any assumption or innuendo or, hey, you fill in the blank in your own mind. Hey, treason, traitor, I'm just throwing it out there. No, the other stuff you could go, oh my God, look, he's now allowing coal companies to pollute the waterways. What? That's crazy. You could point to the thing specifically and go, look how terrible this is. Oh my God, his healthcare bill gives $200,000 more per year to everybody in the top 1%. It guts Medicaid $880 billion. Trump signed a bill that has like a 6% approval rating. I have to say it. I don't want to say it, but I have to say it. JusticeDemocrats.com. Because that's the only way the Democrats win in a giant wave and can hold those gains. Everything else is smoke and mirrors, where the American people go, I guess the Democrats are less shitty than the Republicans. But you want to have a strong permanent majority? You got to elect true liberals and true progressives. You got to elect the populist left, grassroots, that will fight for the policies that the American people believe in and want. And the only people that are going to stand up and fight for those policies, Bernie Sanders-style politicians. JusticeDemocrats.com.